I want to talk through some of our area sums that we are doing today. Firstly, I want to remind you that area is measured in millimeters squared, centimeters squared, or meters squared. And converting between those units do not work the same as converting from millimeters to centimeters. This is a two-dimensional measurement, and we're going to look at how to convert with that later. Next, what you need to know by now is that the area of a rectangle is, to work that out, you do length times width, or you could say length times breadth. And to work out the area of a triangle, you do base times height, and you divide that by 2. You'll also see the formula sometimes being written as half base times height. That works out exactly the same, but we will stick to base times height divided by 2 to keep it simple. Right, so let's look at these few examples. I have a triangle at 3A, and I want to work out its area. Now, what part of the triangle is the base? It's this, the 24. Okay, so I know I want to work out the area. I want to do base times height divided by 2. I know I need to say, okay, my base is 24, right? Then the height, now the height needs to be perpendicular. In other words, it needs to go straight up. It needs to make a 90-degree angle with the base. But that does not have to touch the base. It can be measured outside the triangle or inside the triangle. And in this case, to reach your highest point from your base, you'll need to measure on the outside of the triangle. But that's given here as 11. So you use that 11. You also need to just check for me that that when you are working out area, both your numbers are in the same unit. So these are both given in millimeters, so I don't need to convert anything, and that's how you'll work it out. If we look at B, this is a square, so we're going to do length. The area is length times width, or for a square, sometimes we just say side times side because all the sides are the same. So in this case, it's an easy one. I just wanted to remind you that these little lines mean they are all the same, so you can see that it's a square. So you're just going to do 15 times 15 there. Your answer then going to be, remember, in millimeters squared, please. Same here at A. At C, this triangle, again, it's a triangle, so I need to do area equals base times height divided by 2. I sometimes put this in brackets. It's just to make it simpler, but the brackets doesn't really have to be there because if you think of Bortma's times and divide, you'll just work from left to right anyway. Base here is my 12. And do you see now the perpendicular height, the height that's straight up and that goes to the highest point, is given as 7. So that's what you're going to work out. Don't forget, after you've times them, to divide them by 2. Okay, you're going to work that out further by yourselves. You may use a calculator for these sums because in our geometry section of the paper, we do use a calculator. Right, let's look at these two. In this case, I was just wondering if you would notice what you could use as your base here. I know 8 is at the bottom, but if I look at it, I then can't spot my perpendicular height. This could possibly be the height, although it's not given that this is a 90-degree angle. So it might not even be straight up. But it's anyway not given. I don't know what that is. So it's not going to work for me to use 8 as my base. The good news is any side of your triangle can be used as a base. You just turn your triangle. So in this case, I want you to use 10 as the base. And if you look at it now, if you turn the triangle, 10 is the base. And then this 6 is then your height, okay? Next one, at B, do we have a formula to work out the area of this trapezium? No, we don't. But I'm not going to look at it as a trapezium. I'm going to look at it as a triangle and a square. So what you do for me is you firstly draw your triangle and you say the area of this triangle. Okay, I need base times height. What will this length be? It's not so difficult to see. If that is 4, then this part is also 4. And I know the whole thing is 7. So 4 plus what will give me 7? Okay, so I can use, for my area of my triangle, I can use 3 as the base. For my height, well, it's not given exactly, but if this is 4 and that's 4 and that's 4, this is a square, so this is also 4. All right, so I can work out the area of the triangle as 12. There's no units given here, so you can write units squared after your answer. Then you do, you do the area of the square, length times width. Okay. And now you add them together. So your total area is then 12 plus 16, you see? And don't forget your units at the end. Okay, to work this one out, they ask you to calculate the pink area here. But this area is not a square or a rectangle. So length times width is not going to apply here. We can't use that to work out its area. This is a irregular quadrilateral, so I'm going to have to use a different way to work out its area. When I look at the whole shape, okay, let me use a different color here. That's a rectangle, and I can work out this whole area. So I want you to start with that whole area. Length times width, right? So it's going to be 8 plus 4 is 12 for the length, and for the width 5 plus 6, so that'll be 11. All right, so now you have got your area for the total one. Okay, after you've worked that out, I want you to do each triangle by itself. So if you look here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles, and these have basically been cut out of that green rectangle. So take 3 triangles, draw them. You can even draw them like more or less what they look like, and work out the area of each of these. Okay, so but remember, base times height. It doesn't really matter what you choose as your base and what you choose as your height. I'm going to number them like this: 1, 2, that was 1, that was 2, this one was 3, and then 1 was 4. Okay, so 3 times 4. Don't forget to divide by 2. That's part of the formula. Remember, it's like half a rectangle. That's why I divide by 2. 5 times 8. And keep going that way. Okay, you get the idea. So once you have your 4 answers for the 4 triangles, you're going to subtract this total from your green total here. You're going to subtract it from there. So you're going to work out the total area minus the 4 triangles. And that will leave you with this area there. Okay, I hope that's enough info for you to do the rest. let's look at the last two sums that I want to explain. Calculate the length of the base of a triangle. And it always helps to just draw a little something. The area of the triangle is 60. I usually just write it there in the middle so I can see that's the area. 60 centimeters squared, and its height is 6 centimeters. Okay, so what will its base be? That's the missing one. Easy. Area for this is base times height divided by 2. We now know the area is 60. We don't know what the base is. We do know the height is 6, and we know we would have divided that by 2. So you end up asking yourself, what times 6 divided by 2 will give me 60? Quick guess, 10 times 6 is 60, okay, but 60 divided by 2 is 30. So it's not 10, it's going to be double 10. So this way you can solve B. If you want to really have a process here, you can say, I'm going to use 60. I'm going to divide it by 6 because I'm going to do the opposite of that and do the opposite of that. And then I'm going to times by 2. You don't have to write this step down, but that'll then bring you to your base being 20. Let's test that. If I have 20 here, 20 times 6 will be 120, and 120 divided by 2 is 60. Perfect. That works. Number 7. The floor area. Just taking that out for space. Floor area of a passage. So we've got this passage here, and its whole area is 2,4 meters squared. The floor has to be tiled with square tiles, and these little square tiles, they're a 200 by 200 millimeter tile. So they're that size. How many tiles do you need to cover the floor? I think you can already see that this is going to be a division sum. You're going to take the total area and you're going to divide it by the tile area. And that will give you how many tiles you're going to need to tile this floor. The issue here is that the total area is given in meters squared, while my tile length is given in millimeters. We do not want to work with different units. It overcomplicates things. So my suggestion to you is that you work out the area of the tile by taking your millimeters and converting it to meters. So 200 millimeters is 20 centimeters, and 20 centimeters is 0,2 meters. The tile area, remember this is my aim of the sum, but the tile area will then be 0,2 times 0,2, and I'll then have 0,04 in meters squared. Again, you may use a calculator, but you can easily think of 2 times 2 is 4, and then remember that was one place value, that was one place value, so you need 2 decimals. Okay, I've got the tile area. Now I need the total area. That's been given, so it brings me to 2,4 meters squared divided by 0,04 meters squared.